Hello and welcome. You know what? If AI can generate the lighting, the background, and even the face, where does that leave you? Some categories of photography are shrinking. A few are already being eliminated. Let's talk about why portrait photographers still matter and where you should be positioning yourself. Hey there, Lens Legends, and welcome to another episode of the Portrait Profit Show, where we focus on the business side of photography. I'm your host, Jim Landers, your guide on the business side, and it's my mission to uplift portrait photographers to make a great income doing what they love. Each week on the Portrait Profit Show, you get tips and systems on the business side of photography designed to help you gain a mastery over marketing and sales, reducing the struggles that most photographers face so you can finally get what you deserve. You're in the right place. Welcome to the Portrait Profit Show. The Portrait Profit Show is brought to you by Digital Pro Lab and Landers Photography School. For Digital Pro Lab, Amanda and her amazing, wonderful team, they're going to make you look like a hero. And it's because Amanda hires fantastic people. They do a fantastic job. They make it easy. And if you've got any questions or any concerns, they are there to help you easily. Oh, man, if you haven't already, I want you to go to digitalprolab.com so that you give yourself an opportunity to experience the difference that Digital Pro Lab can make for you. The show is also sponsored by Landers Photography School. It's my company. I teach both the photography side and the business side. I have both group classes and private classes. I do have most of my time is now on the private side and on the business side, but still teach everything. I've written over 250 classes over the years. So I've probably got something that is beneficial to you. The only way to find out is by reaching out to me. And I make that really easily. Just go to this URL you see on the screen right now. Go to calendly.com, not calendar, calendly.com /photo school /15min. That's to give you 15 minutes of one free session, just you and me via a Zoom call. You could do it by phone, but it's a whole lot better if it's via Zoom. So just take advantage of that so you can see how I can possibly help you in reaching your goals. You know, I want to encourage you to make comments and to ask questions throughout this lesson today. I want you to go to the comment section right now and enter in the hashtag live. So I know you're watching us on either Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn or YouTube or Simulcast to several places. For those watching the replay, please enter in hashtag replay. I also request that you share the Portrait Profit Show. Just click that share button or hit the @ symbol and enter in the name of the person who you think could be benefited by watching this show. You know, recently, a photographer in our community wrote something that stopped me. Her name is Melissa Schmalhorst, and she gave me permission to share this. This is her post that you're seeing on the screen right now, and I do realize that it's too small to see it clearly, but I'm going to share the major part of it with you, and you don't actually need to see the whole thing as a result. Here's what she says. I've been really struggling mentally with the rise of AI lately. I honestly don't know what direction I want to go, or if there will even be a real market for genuine photography in the future. No, she said a little bit more than that, but that's the gist. Think about that. It's not an angry rant. It's not dramatic prediction. It's simply a concern from a working photographer wondering if what she has built will still have a place. And if you've not said it out loud, you've probably thought it too. Right now, AI can generate amazing images. For those of you who think that there's a tell, sometimes there is a tell, but there isn't always. If you think you can always tell, you haven't looked at the most recent AI generation. AI can generate amazing images that look like a photographer created them right now. AI can change the lighting just with description. It can generate the background. It can generate a new face on that image. Or it can just start from scratch from your words. Hmm. That changes things. Google Labs has introduced a tool called Pomeli. In Pomeli, there is a photo shoot feature. It's called Photo Shoot. It allows small businesses or individuals to upload a simple product image. Now, this isn't a portrait, this is a product image, but you can just use your cell phone and photograph a product, upload it to Pomeli, and generate polished marketing visuals without hiring a photographer, without hiring a videographer, without hiring an internet marketing specialist. It looks amazing. I do recommend that you go check it out just so that you're aware of what is going on. Because if you think that only commercial photography is a target, you're not thinking it through. You've probably heard of this. Now, the Pomeli came out about 10 days ago, so it's brand new, brand new. But this one has been around for several months. Nano Banana. And by the way, if you go check out Nano Banana, you can pretty easily find out why it has that name. It's the nickname of the person, the woman who was in charge of the program. So you'll see it. Looking at her name, you'll be able to see it. But at the same time, experimental image generation projects such as Nano Banana are advancing synthetic imagery even further, producing highly stylized or conceptual visuals without a camera. AI headshot platforms are producing professional looking portraits from selfies at a fraction of traditional portrait pricing. And they look really good. Now, does that mean 100% of the images they send to you look amazing? It does not mean that at all. Some of them there are tells. Some. But there's enough of them that they send that don't have tells. Generative tools inside editing software like Photoshop can extend backgrounds, replace skies, remove elements, and fabricate details in seconds. And there's a whole lot more, but let me go over those four I just mentioned to you real quick. Pomeli is a product visualization tool. Nano Banana is an experimental generative imagery project. The headshot platforms are consumer facing product alternatives to portrait photographers. And the Photoshop generative tools, which is really a workflow enhancement tool, saves a lot of time. These tools are being used in real businesses by real clients. That's why Melissa's concern resonates. AI is replacing some photography. The question is which photography? And AI is not just replacing those jobs, it's revealing where photography is and always has been essential. That is what we are clarifying today. I need to check something real quick. I'm glad I checked. The correct microphone was not on. So hopefully it sounds better. I don't have a way to tell whether the sound is good or not. I can see that it's on. That's really all I can tell. Good. So, by the way, I have a handout for this and every single show that I do. So if you ever want the handout, the shows are every single Monday, and it has been since February of 2021. So that's this is episode number 260. So we've done quite a few, but we have handouts for every single one of them. So if you want the handout, reach out to me, Jim@portraitprofits.com. I'll put that up on the screen, Jim@portraitprofits.com. You can also enter in hashtag handout in the comments, either way. So did I scroll too far? I did. Why did I scroll too far? All right. So let's talk about what AI is actually replacing. What is going on? Technical details, technical difficulties. Usually if I do something like that, it refocuses. There we go. All right. What is AI actually replacing? We need to begin with what is objectively happening. Artificial intelligence is strongest in situations where human involvement is not clearly beneficial. I mean, it's really technology that could be said of, but let me repeat that. Artificial intelligence is strongest in situations where human involvement is not clearly beneficial. Armed with that information, you have a direction. Let's talk about that. If a business needs a polished marketing visual and no one needs to be directed, coached, or physically present for it, AI can often produce something usable, acceptable, good enough. If someone wants a professional looking headshot and does not need a photographer to guide posture, expression, pose, confidence, AI tools can generate one from a handful of selfies, not needing a portrait photographer. If a brand needs a conceptual image and the final results matter more than the process used to create it, AI can deliver that much quicker than a professional photographer. So therefore, that segment of photography is shrinking. It's going to continue to shrink. This is not a commentary on talent. It's a pattern of technology. When a task can be simulated convincingly and human participation doesn't significantly increase perceived value, automation becomes efficient and appealing. AI reduces friction in categories where interaction, guidance, and presence they're just not central to the outcome. In those cases, the visual result is the product, and the photographer's involvement becomes, well, optional. What feels different right now is not the pattern. The pattern is familiar. Technology has always reduced convenience work first. What feels different is the speed. The pace of change is faster than previous transitions, and the speed amplifies our concern. However, speed does not change the principle. AI replaces work where participation does not meaningfully increase value. That leads to the more important question: which parts of photography depend on participation? So let's move into that. If AI replaces work where participation does not meaningfully increase value, then the opportunity lies where participation is central to the outcome. In portrait photography, participation is not a technical detail, it's a part of the product. So a lot of photographers don't understand that concept. It's the entire creative process that a photographer charges for, not just the result. That may be what is going on with my focus. Let's see. Who knows what is going on with my focus? There it is. Part of the deal with dealing with technology, I guess. So in portrait photography, participation is not a technical detail, it's part of the product. A senior who feels unsure in front of the camera benefits from guidance, encouragement, direction. A family navigating different personalities benefits from someone who can observe, adjust, lead. An executive preparing for a branding portrait benefits from a photographer who understands how they want to be perceived and helps shape that presentation intentionally. In those situations, the final image is not the only deliverable. The interaction that produces it shapes the result. Do you guys get this? Are you hearing it? Is it resonating with you? If so, tell me yes in the comments. By the way, if you haven't already, enter in hashtag live. Let me know that you're watching live. Participation influences expression, posture, confidence, connection, and trust. It affects how a person feels during the session, and that feeling often translates into how they see themselves afterward. AI can generate a convincing result, a convincing image, a convincing visual. It cannot engage in that exchange. This is where experiential photography, especially portrait photography, becomes strategically important. When the session itself carries value, when the guidance, preparation, and interaction are intentional, the photographer is not merely producing an image, the photographer is shaping an experience. That experience, the whole creative process, cannot be automated. It can't be AI. It has to be a photographer. AI produces output. A photographer participates in the creation of something personal and specific. When participation meaningfully changes the outcome, the work becomes durable. And that's the line that clarifies positioning. The question is no longer whether AI can create an image. The question is whether the value you offer depends on your participation. Now we need to talk about positioning. By the way, are you hearing this? Is it meaning something to you? Let me know in the comments. And if you have any interesting stories that you want to share, go ahead and share them in the comment section. Oh, and make sure to click that like button and love button when you hear something you like. If participation meaningfully increases value, then positioning becomes clear. The question is not whether you can create a beautiful image. AI can create beautiful images. The question is whether your involvement changes the outcome. And we're talking about from the client's point of view. From your point of view, of course it does. But that's not where the value needs to be received. They've got to receive that value. They have to understand it. You've got to do a good job of conveying it or communicating it to them. Photographers who build their business around technical execution alone are going to feel more pressure. Lighting technique, dramatic compositing, background replacement, stylized concepts, they are advancing quickly in automated systems. It's not going to be a way to stand out anymore. Competing on visual spectacle alone becomes increasingly difficult when software can simulate it convincingly. So positioning shifts when the value proposition changes. When you position yourself as someone who guides, directs, prepares, and shapes the experience, your role becomes central rather than optional. Consultation becomes part of the product. Preparation becomes part of the product. Direction during the session, part of the product. The final printed artwork, part of the product, part of the larger process. Not just a standalone image file. This is something they're going to be able to do on their own. So therefore, full service photographers are going to become more normalized. Right now, there aren't a lot of full service photographers. I come across photographers who call themselves full service. Full service means you give no work for the client to do. Meaning if you give them, let's say it's a family portrait, for different types of portraiture, the end result is different. So I'm going to choose one, family portraits. The end result isn't a digital file because people want to enjoy it every day, see it on their wall. Does everybody want that? No, but those who do, you're not done yet with a digital image file. It's not even a printed image. It's not even a framed printed image. It is one that has been installed on their wall. Where you hire someone to put it on their wall. That's full service. They have no work to do. Even if you give them a framed print, they still got to put it on the wall. That's giving them work to do. So therefore not full service. This new way of looking at it is the old way of looking at it. Photographers used to always print. Most of them framed also. Now they would have a framer do it, but still. Very few have ever do the full installation. That actually was rare even when photographers knew how to print. But now it's going to become the norm again. It's more going back to the old style. There's a lot of old things that are coming back. They're new again. And a lot of people are going to look at them as being new. They aren't, but they're going to look at them as new because they haven't done it before. So new to them. This is important for portrait photographers. Families are not only purchasing images, they're navigating relationships, milestones, identity. Seniors are not simply standing in front of a background. They're marking a transition. Professionals are not just updating a profile image. They're shaping how they are perceived in their field. In each of these situations, participation increases the value of the outcome. When participation increases value, automation does not eliminate the need for a photographer. It clarifies the need. That's why I want you to position yourself in that space. Positioning is not about resisting technology. It's about building in categories where your involvement is clearly beneficial and visually or visibly connected to the result. The more your presence reshapes the outcome, or the more your presence shapes the outcome, the more durable your business becomes, the more control you retain over your future as a professional portrait photographer. Now, does that mean that I think every photographer needs to become a full service photographer? It doesn't mean that at all. Now, if you're going to be doing family portrait photography, it's beneficial. And once you start doing it, it's not hard. Just like anything you do, you start doing, once you've done it for a little while, it becomes the norm. So therefore, it's no longer difficult. It's no longer hard. It becomes the norm. Let's talk about using AI to your advantage. Before I do that, if you haven't already, go to the comments and enter in hashtag live. Let me know you're watching live. And if you hear something you like, there's a like button for that. And on Facebook, there's a love button. On LinkedIn, there's different buttons that you can choose. I encourage you to do that. That tells me that you're watching. That shows a little participation. Speaking of participation, participation is where your value becomes durable. Efficiency is where AI becomes useful. These aren't opposing ideas. Artificial intelligence is exceptionally strong at speed, organization, repetition. You know what? Filter Pixel is a tool that I recommend because it can cull large volumes of images quickly. It can assist with color correction and a lot more. And you can go to, and I'll put the URL up, filterpixel.com. This is an example of an AI that you should be using. This is especially for the photographers who create a lot of images. So event photographers, wedding photographers, some portrait photographers. It's if you are creating a lot of images. If you're creating 5 images, it's just not going to do much for you. It could, but it's really geared more for photographers who have a larger number of photographs. So I recommend Filter Pixel to cull your images. Yes, there are other companies. I've looked at about 10 other companies. None of them beat Filter Pixel, and there's some good reasons for that. But that's not what this is about. So I'll let you know that's my recommendation, and that's about it. So AI you can use AI tools to generate social media variations from a single photograph. AI can help draft marketing emails. There are lots of different programs that do this. I mentioned one that culls and edits, but there are the other things that I mentioned. I'm not giving you specific examples, but you may use some already, or you can look them up, or you can watch other episodes of the Portrait Profit Show, and because we have talked about those in previous shows. So, but AI can help you draft marketing emails, outline blog posts, organize client communication. It can create mock-ups of wall portraits in a client's home. It can assist in building promotional graphics and recap materials for events. Used properly, these tools compress all that time you have been investing. What they do, what they don't do is replace your participation in the parts of the process that create value. And that's great. AI cannot conduct a consultation. Now, there are tools that you can use to automate a consultation, but it can't conduct a consultation, a face-to-face, where you can watch their body language and react to it. It doesn't have the ability to calm a nervous client. AI cannot direct body language in real time. It cannot read the energy of a room and adjust accordingly. It cannot be accountable for how a milestone is documented. but you can. There is a mistake in AI or in not using AI. The mistake in not using AI strategically, because it is good. Please don't take anything out of what I'm saying as AI is not anything other than good for purposes of building your business. Now, if we want to go into different topics, we may have different opinions. But as far as building your business, AI is good when used strategically. The mistake is building your value proposition on tasks that AI can perform faster and cheaper. You're going to get beat by other photographers who do make the change. When AI shortens your workflow, you gain margin. That margin can be reinvested into client preparation, in-person sales, product delivery, relationship building, strategic planning, and even taking classes with Jim Landers. The efficiency that AI brings becomes leverage rather than concern. The goal is not to compete with AI. The goal is to deploy it where it strengthens your business and protects the areas where your participation creates value. When you use AI to increase efficiency while positioning yourself where participation matters, you are not reacting to change. You are directing it. You know, Melissa's question that I shared at the beginning was honest. It reflects where many photographers are, what many photographers are quietly thinking. No doubt artificial intelligence is quickly advancing. It's not even possible to keep up with everything. Some categories of photography are shrinking. A few are already in the process of being, unfortunately, eliminated, at least the way we know them today. So ignoring this would be careless at best. But this shift is clarifying something important. Technology consistently reduces work where involvement does not add visible value. That's important enough to repeat. Technology consistently reduces work where involvement does not add visible value. What remains is work where participation increases the outcome, enhances the outcome, makes it better. Besides, photography has never been defined solely by the ability to produce an image. It could be a stereotype, and some photographers might perceive it that way. But photography has never been defined solely by the ability to produce an image. It has always been strengthened by the photographer's participation in the process. When guidance, preparation, direction, and accountability shape the result, the photographer's role becomes central rather than optional. If your positioning is only built on visual spectacle, the pressure you feel, it's going to increase. If your positioning is built on participation and experience, what I call experiential photography, the strength of your business increases with it. AI can simulate lighting, it can fabricate backgrounds, it can generate faces, but it cannot participate with you. As long as you clearly communicate that value to your ideal clients and they value being guided, understood, directed, and photographed as themselves, photographers will remain essential, which is what you want. So build where your presence changes the outcome. That is where your future is secure. I hope you've enjoyed this lesson today. I'm going to share with you some upcoming shows, so you're gonna like what's coming up. But I I want to encourage you, if you haven't already, to enter in hashtag live in the comments section. If you've got any thoughts or ideas, then enter in those there as well. And if you hear something that you like, or if you've liked the show or loved the show today, hit the like button, hit that love button. As you know, we do the Portrait Profit show every single Monday. So let me tell you about the upcoming shows. In 1 week from today, it's the second Monday of the month. And so we move it to 6:30 in the evening. A couple of reasons for that. Sometimes we have people panel interviews. Sometimes we have people. It's just easier to get people at 6:30 in the evening than it is at noon. But also so that those who can't watch the noon show can watch it live at least once a month. And so 1 month from today, March 9th at 6:30. Make sure you change the time. It's not at noon. Every single month on the second Monday, we change it to 6:30 in the evening. So that's March 9th at 6:30. And then 1 week after that is March 16th, and that is back to the regular time at noon. So March 16th at noon. This is why you're not getting there yet. Something is changing in your photography business. You're working, learning, you're staying busy, and yet you're not getting where you want to go. So I'm sharing 3 questions that quietly reveal why that happens and what must change in order to move forward. If you've ever wondered, even for a moment, why am I not getting there yet? This one's for you. So that's what's coming up in the next 2 weeks. You know, technology will keep on keeping on. What matters is where you choose to compete. If you compete on visual spectacle alone, the pressure is going to increase. If you position yourself where participation and experience shape the outcome, the strength of your business increases with it. AI can accelerate your workflow. It can expand your efficiency. It can strengthen your systems. And it should. But it cannot replace your presence. So position yourself where your involvement is clearly beneficial and communicate that value to the clients you want to serve. Make it obvious why working with you is different from generating an image. That's how you're going to stay relevant. That's how you're going to stay profitable. That's how you retain control over your future. I want to thank you, Lens Legends, for your time and attention here today. And thank you for the hard work you put in every single day to build a photography business that matters. I'll see you next Monday at 6:30 in the evening. For Landers Photography School and Digital Pro Lab, I'm Jim Landers. And this is the Portrait Profit Show. I look forward to watching you grow. You guys are amazing. Bye for now.